Welcome back to Winter, Year 2 of the Stardew Valley Min-Max and 100% Perfection Guide. We're covering Winter Days 1 through 9, where we'll completely get rid of our current island Starfruit setup and refurbish the space for a brand new farm using hyperspeed growth and pressure nozzles for maximum Starfruit yields. We'll of course continue brewing Starfruit in our keg setup to produce lots of wine to sell for maximum profit while we wait for the rest of the cooking recipes to achieve perfection, which will be very soon. We're on the final month now. We begin with day 1, the first day of winter, taking care of the usual farm chores. We need to keep processing our hardwood into wood to keep a steady supply of wood for crafting more kegs and other items that require it. Specifically, we need more wood if we want to buy and upgrade new sheds to place on the farm, which will end up setting more garden pots in. We return inside the house, and since we do have some new cooking recipes that we have not cooked yet, just to get them out of the way, we cook whatever recipes we have recently learned, so that all we will have left come the end of the year will be to cook the recipes we learned during the month of winter. We place the newly cooked items in a chest to never be seen again, then head on over to Ginger Island and chop the trees around here for even more wood. Then since today is Monday, we can start new quests, and I pick up Key's Let's Play a Game challenge, which requires a score of 50,000 points in Junimo Kart, which is an arcade game that's playable at the Stardrop Saloon. Spoiler alert, I completely forgot about this challenge and don't end up completing it, which is alright as we aren't really in need of more key gems. If the challenge comes up again, I'll give it a try just for the sake of completing every type of challenge. We head to the mines to grind for some radioactive ore and more hardwood, and do make a stop back at the farm to cycle the hardwood chippers, then once again end the day in the mines. Moving on to day 2, I know in my last video, I mentioned on super luck days I would now prefer to spend them in the mines grinding for radioactive ore, but since we had no other tasks to tend to today, I decided it's a good opportunity to have a Skull Cavern dive while utilizing 2 magic rock candies and lots of crafted staircases to get a big haul of iridium ore and other loot. We are actually a bit low on ores, and could use some more iron for crafting more explosive ammo and for kegs as well, and having a supply of iridium bars is always nice in case we need to sell some to Clint for some quick cash for seeds. We have a lucrative dive and make it to floor 388, collecting over a stack of iridium ore and lots of other loot as well. We move on to day 3, which is a keg cycle day. We start by getting the sheds out of the way and cycle all the kegs here, then move outside the farm and cycle every keg at the bus stop, along the road, and inside the tunnel. Then we collect all the ready oak resin from the railroad tapper farm, then all the ready oak resin from the quarry tapper farm. This brings us a bit past 5 p.m., and with all the new wood we have gathered, we are able to craft a good amount of kegs, but are now limited by the amount of iron bars we have, and can only craft 138 new kegs. We warp to the desert and right away begin cycling all of our existing kegs here, and the desert is certainly starting to fill up quite a bit here. We still have quite some room for placing new kegs, but still want to make sure we leave enough room for traversal with our horse, and not place any where an NPC will pass through. And of course, the only NPCs that move through the desert, as far as I'm aware, are Emily and Sandy on her birthday. We tried to fill out the space towards the left side of the desert as much as we can. There's a too wide gap between some of the kegs here just because of that one day of the year Emily and Sandy will walk through, and we don't want them to destroy the kegs. But otherwise, we are able to fill the kegs in some nice vertical columns here, and then we can move over to the top right of the desert, where I'm still a bit unsure if the kegs will fit nicer placed in rows or columns. I begin placing the kegs in what will be rows, but it's getting late and the clock strikes 2 a.m. and we pass out. We wake up on day 4, a super luck day, and cycle some iron in the furnaces, which allows us to craft 12 additional kegs to place at the desert. We warp straight there, as if we begin brewing wine right away. Since it actually takes slightly less than a week, the new kegs here will still line up with the rest. Last time we counted a total of 822 kegs, plus the 158 we just added, equals 980 kegs total now for cycling Starfruit wine. We get Starfruit brewing in every keg, then warp back to the farm. After taking care of the farm chores, we spend the day at the mines taking advantage of the super luck to try to collect as much radioactive ore as possible. Our goal is to have enough radioactive ore by the next island Starfruit harvest to craft hyperspeed road to cover the island farm and replace the old setup. We take a quick detour from our mine grind to sell some iridium bars to Clint, so we can purchase the big shed upgrade from Robin for our new shed down at the bottom of our farm. We finish the day back at the mines and get a decent amount of radioactive ore. Right before we pass out, we return to the farm, and we can see that our total radioactive ore amount is 452, which would allow us to craft 452 hyper speed grow. My goal is at least 600 hyper speed grow, so we still have about 150 to go, so we'll hope for some more super luck days. Our wish has been granted on day 5. We wake up to another super luck day, so hopefully this will allow us to collect lots of radioactive ore. Before we head over there, I decide to complete a quick quest for Pam by bringing her a battery pack, and when we enter Pam and Penny's house, we're actually met with a cutscene. I was under the impression Penny's 4 and 6 heart events could only be activated in their trailer, but it seems they can be viewed in the house as well. So we start with Penny's 4 heart event, where she convinces us to help her clean up after Pam. We oblige, but suddenly Pam barges in and demands us to leave, so I guess we just walk out with all of her dirty clothes that we definitely already picked up. Alrighty then. We move on to Penny's 6 heart event, where this time she feeds us a mystery chili, which makes us turn green. We must lie and tell her it was delicious to earn 50 points of friendship, and as a reward, we get to watch a movie with Penny. After this, we can enter the house one more time and give Pam that battery pack, then we'll be on our way to the mines. We are already off to a lucky start with finding quite a few radioactive nodes, and the luck seems to continue until the end of the day, as we're able to get 113 radioactive ore, a pretty fair amount. We pass out and move on to day 6, where we ship off a bunch of random crops, as we will need money tomorrow for Starfruit seeds. After all the chores on the farm are done, we travel to Ginger Island and mine the resources from the dig site. We're specifically looking for bone shards, as we will need quite a bit for the hyper speed grow we'll want to craft. We make a stop at the carpenter's shop and order the construction of a new shed, which will eventually set up more Starfruit garden pots in. We finish the day in the mines, but rather than focusing on radioactive ore and heading to the usual floor, we head to floor 70 and enter the frozen floors, where we find skeletons. We'll need to grind a whole bunch of skeletons to farm bone shards, as one hyper speed grow requires 3 bone shards to craft. If we're looking for approximately 600 hyper speed grow for the island farm, that's 1800 bone shards we'll need, which is quite a lot. We pass out and see our earnings of 460,000 G from selling the various crops and some slime eggs as well. We begin day 7 by checking our TV and watching the Queen of the Sauce for the recipe. We warp to the desert and spend our money on Starfruit seeds, then trade our jades for staircases on Staircase Sunday. We finish the day in the mines, once again grinding for as many bone shards as possible. We wake up on day 8, which is the day of the Festival of Ice, but we will be skipping this festival as there's no real benefit, and we have the Shed and Island Starfruit harvests to tend to today. We get all 3 Starfruit garden pod shed harvests out of the way and replant Starfruit seeds in each shed, then head over to the island farm. Rather than our usual harvest and replant method, we only harvest the Starfruit. We will need to get rid of all of our old deluxe speed grow here in order to re-hoe the land and replace it with hyper speed grow. There is no way we will be able to do this all today, and we need more bone shards anyway, so after harvesting the Starfruit, we will leave the land and hopefully some will get untilled itself overnight, and then tomorrow we will take care of setting up the new farm. Since it is Monday, we pick up a new key challenge, Keys Cuisine, which will be an easy one to complete by crafting triple shot espressos. We then spend some key gems on 20 pressure nozzles, as we will be setting up our new farm with the increased range iridium sprinklers. We spend the rest of the day gathering more bone shards in the mines, then right before 2 AM we warp back to the farm and put our stuff away. We can see we do have 1800 bone shards and 600 radioactive ore, which will allow us to craft 600 hyper speed grow tomorrow. We move on to day 9 and craft the 600 hyper speed grow. They also require solar essence, which we have plenty of, but after using 600 to craft the speed grow, we are starting to run a bit low, so that's something to keep in mind. We grab 600 Starfruit seeds, which we'll plant with the speed grow, and a bunch of iridium sprinklers to pair with the pressure nozzles. We warp to the island, and I try placing down a bomb to hopefully blow up the land and get rid of the old speed grow, but unfortunately, since bombs till the untilled land, They do not have any effect on the already tilled land with fertilizer. This means we'll have to manually use our pickaxe to untill every single tile on the farm here, which goes much faster using animation canceling, but still does take quite a bit of time. We pause for a moment to start placing down some sprinklers, and we begin placing them starting from the top right. We can make sure the top right sprinkler here covers as many tiles as possible to maximize the amount of starfruit we can grow, so we place the sprinklers along the grass here where we cannot till, therefore not wasting any space. After those, we'll place them in a grid pattern, but before placing the rest of the sprinklers, we'll finish untilling all of the land. This process takes a total of 7.5 in-game hours to complete, which was quite a bit of time, but unfortunately I don't think there's any faster way or easier way to do it. We continue placing the sprinklers and fill out the grid pattern with 15 sprinklers. An iridium sprinkler with a pressure nozzle covers a 7x7 area, which is 48 tiles, so 15 sprinklers would cover 720 tiles, although some sprinklers are not actually covering the full 48, so hopefully we're at a number close to 600, since that's all we have right now. After all of the sprinklers are placed, we can hoe the land, place down the hyper speed grow, then plant the 600 seeds. Since this takes us nearly to the end of the day, we won't have time to water the starfruit seeds, but that's okay, it'll cost us just one more day. The hyper speed grow makes starfruit grow in 7 days rather than the deluxe speed grow's 8 days, which is not much of a difference considering we are almost at the end of year 2, which will be the end of this playthrough. But I more so wanted to set this upgraded island farm up just for the fun and challenge of it. We'll also place down a few more iridium sprinklers in preparation for when this batch of starfruit is grown, and we wish to place down more hyper speed grow and starfruit seeds next time. My original plan for this video was to combine the rest of the month of winter into just one last video, but I'm still grinding out the last week of winter right now and wanted to be able to get a video out sooner than that. The next video will cover the remainder of winter and achieving perfection on the final day of the year, which will serve as the finale of this series. I plan on live streaming the last few days of the series and achieving perfection, so if you'd like to be there when we finally achieve perfection, I plan to be on YouTube Live this Friday at 10:30 p.m. CST. I am also planning to make a recap video of my entire min-max and perfection 2-year run, which may take quite a bit of time to fit 224 days into one video. I'd also like to begin a new min-max run, most likely solely focusing on making as much money as possible within the first in-game day or month, and I'd like to try my hands at making some other Stardew content as well. And honestly, I know it's easiest to grow on YouTube by finding a niche and sticking with it, but I do feel I'd burn out quickly if all I stuck to was Stardew. I would enjoy looking into min-maxing other games, or just playing in my perfectionist playstyle and try to put a unique spin on whatever game it may be. I would also like to try making some more video essay type content, and recently I made one about the psychology of idle games and how to use them for better motivation. I was very passionate and proud of this video, but unfortunately it didn't do as well on YouTube as I thought it might. I would really appreciate if you could check it out. I'll leave a link and let me know what you think about the video in the comments. Anyways, I appreciate all the community's support and look forward to hopefully growing as a channel, but more importantly, a community. As always, thank you for watching, and goodbye.